Are math and arithmetic taught differently now than they were in 1877? Let's find out, and you decide. Hello, my name is Janae. I am a former teacher, and in 2020, I withdrew my remaining 4 of 6 kids from public school to start homeschooling. Welcome to the School to Homeschool YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be comparing an 1877 first and second grade arithmetic book to an arithmetic book used today for second graders. Before we get into the actual texts, let's talk about historically what happened that brought about changes like this. It wasn't until we started homeschooling that I started to deep dive into the history of the U.S. education system. Unfortunately, the deeper I dove, the more disgusted I became. A major shift happened in education during the 20th century, and it wasn't for the better. This is from The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America by Charlotte Thompson Iserby. Charlotte Iserby was the senior policy advisor for the Department of Education in the 1980s. And in this book, she goes in order telling year by year different things that happened. It's very well documented. I will include the link for this in the description. It is online for free, so you can look at that yourself. But this is what she says. Mr. O.A. Nelson, retired educator, has supplied vitally important documentation needed to support the link up between the textbooks and the Council on Foreign Relations. Mr. Nelson says, I know from personal experience what I am talking about. In December 1928, I was asked to talk to the American Association for the Advancement of Science. On December 27th, naive and inexperienced, I agreed. I had done some special work in teaching functional physics in high school. That was to be my topic. The next day, the 28th, a Dr. Ziegler asked if I would attend a special meeting in his room after the AAAS meeting. We were 13 at the meeting. 2 things caused Dr. Ziegler, who is the chairman of the Educational Committee, to the Council on Foreign Relations to ask me to attend. My talk on the teaching of functional physics in high school and the fact that I was a member of the group known as the Progressive Educators of America. 11 of those attending the meeting were leaders in education. Doctors John Dewey and Edward Thorndike from Columbia University were there, and the others were of equal rank. The sole work of the group was to destroy our schools. We spent 1 hour and 45 minutes discussing the so-called, quote, modern math. At one point I objected. Dr. Ziegler turned to me and said, Nelson, wake up. That is what we want. A math that the pupils cannot apply to life situations when they get out of school. The radical change was introduced in 1952. It was the one we are using now. So if pupils come out of high school now not knowing any math, don't blame them. The results are supposed to be worthless. That meeting took place in 1928. So the question I ask myself is, have things changed?
Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.
Let's look and see, are there differences? Let's go ahead and start with Ray's New Primary Arithmetic, published in 1877. This is written by Joseph Ray. He was a 19th century teacher, and he became a doctor as well as a professor. He started teaching arithmetic and mathematics at a local school when he was 16 years old, and then eventually went on to teach at a college level and created a series of books to teach arithmetic and maths to kids. This book is roughly for first and second grade. It begins with a short preface, and then it has a 1-page suggestions to teachers. It suggests that children learn to count readily first, and that they learn to count with actual objects, and that throughout the book they're going to use actual objects to learn arithmetic, including marbles or kernels of corn, or using an abacus. He also suggests that children learn to combine numbers readily up to 20, and also that as a teacher, you come up with some extra exercises for the pupils and encourage the pupils to come up with some examples of their own to share with the class. The final thing is that he says that we need to teach one thing at a time and teach it thoroughly. The first 6 lessons are all about writing and counting numbers and figures from 1 to 100. And so the child has to count objects, and then they have to write the word for each number as well as the number itself. The second section gets into some oral exercises, and then he moves on to addition, then subtraction, then multiplication, then division, and then he goes over real life word type problems, and then finishes with measurements. Let's look at some of the oral exercises, which comprises the second section of the book. How many counters have we here? How many are 1 and 1? 1 taken away from 2 leaves how many? How many 1s in 2? How many are 2 times 1? And then he goes on and through the numbers all the way up to 5, and then the next lesson goes 5 to 8, and so forth. And so he starts with basic addition, then basic subtraction, then basic multiplication. And these are just the oral exercises, and they're learning all the way up through 10. And then, and that comprises 3 lessons, and then he moves on to actual addition. Let's take a look at the addition section. Section includes a picture, which you should see on your screen. How many in the flock that seems to be lighting? There are 2 distant flocks flying. How many birds in each flock? How many birds are 2 birds and 5 birds? How many birds are 7 birds and 4 birds? How many are 2 and 5? 7 and 4. So very simple questions. And then it goes on. The next lesson is 1 and 1 are 2. 2 and 1 are 3. The child has to explain 1 and 1 are 2, 2 and 1 are 3, 1 and 2 are 3, 3 and 1 are 4, and goes on. And then it asks more questions. John had 1 raisin and his sister gave him 3 raisins more. How many had he then? So they're doing oral exercises with addition. Then it goes into subtraction. Again, it follows the same pattern that lesson did. And then after subtraction, it goes into multiplication. And it's roughly halfway through the book. It starts getting more and more heavily into multiplication. Now, it's already started introducing multiplication very gently at the beginning, but by the middle, we get into now deep diving into multiplication. And there, it starts with a picture. How many swallows can you count in the picture? How many are flying inside the shed? How many are at rest? How many are flying outside the shed? How many birds are 3 times 4 birds? There are 4 nests over the doorway. If there are 4 eggs in each nest, how many eggs are there in all the nests? So it continues to go all through multiplication. Again, this is roughly where my modern text starts, this would be middle of the book, 2nd grade. Okay, then from multiplication, of course, it goes into division, and then it goes into measurements, penmanship. It also talks about money. And I think this is really interesting. Towards the end of the book, this is one of the questions that's asked, which is straight up algebra. Like, this is introducing algebra right away. This is how many pineapples at 10 cents each will pay for 5 peaches at 6 cents each. And so it starts introducing more complex math towards the end of the book. So I want you to notice how little this book is. Again, this is for 1st and 2nd grade. It would have been used in the one-room schoolhouse. And if a child picked things up quicker, they would have moved along faster. The book was, from what I read, it was considered inexpensive for the time. And so families could afford to get their own copy, but it's really tiny, 1st and 2nd grade. Now let me show you my son's book. These are from when my son was still in public school. This is 2nd grade. There's 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. You can see how thick they are. Let's go ahead and dive in to volume 1. This is volume 1 of the 2nd grade book. So I want you to notice one author, This is Envision Math 2.0. Now, because it's copyrighted, I can only show bits and pieces. I can't show the whole thing, and I can't read long pages at a time. This is volume 1 for 2nd grade. Authors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different authors. And then it goes over the mathematicians, the ELL consultants, Common Core State Standard reviewers. It gives you digital resources, and then it gives you the contents, topics, fluently add and subtract within 20, work with equal groups, add within 100 using strategies, fluently add within 100, subtract within 100 using strategies, fluently subtract within 100. It goes all the way down to graphs and data, shapes and their attributes. That's the table of contents. And then we go into the Common Core standards. It's several pages of all the Common Core standards. Make sense of problems, persevere in solving them, reason abstractly and quantitatively, viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. That's one of the Common Core standards for a 2nd grader. Model with mathematics, use appropriate tools strategically, attend to precision, look for and make use of structure.
Oh, good grief.
And by the way, we haven't even started getting into the lesson. Section 1, make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. It says, good math thinkers know what the problem is about. They have a plan to solve it. They keep trying if they get stuck.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough.
As little thinking habits at the bottom. What do I need to find? What do I know? What's my plan for solving the problem? What else can I try if I get stuck? How can I check that my solution makes sense? And then this little guy says, my plan is to use counters as trucks. I can act out the problem. The store has some toy trucks. Mike buys 2 of the trucks. Now the store has 3 trucks. How many trucks did the store have at the start? Okay, that's the first one. 2, reason abstractly and quantitatively. And the little guy says, I completed a part whole model. It shows how things in the problem are related. Good math thinkers know how to think about words and numbers to solve problems.
I must be a bad math thinker because I don't have any idea what you want from me.
Then it gives you the thinking habits. What do the numbers stand for? How are the numbers in the problem related? How can I show a word problem using pictures or numbers? How can I use a word problem to show what an equation means? And then it asks the equation, Tony has 10 apples, 6 are red, the rest are green. How many apples are green? Okay, so it's asking them to reason abstractly and quantitatively in 2nd grade. Now, for those of you who have kids or know anything about child development, we start getting abstract thinking. Some kids by the age of 8, most kids don't really start abstractly thinking until 9 or 10. So they're having these 2nd graders try to reason abstractly when their brain may not be that developed yet. 3, construct viable arguments. Paula added 34 plus 5. She says she had to regroup the ones. Is she correct? Show how you know. 34 has 4 ones. 4 ones and 5 ones are 9 ones. Paula is incorrect. You do not need to regroup ones. 34 plus 5 equals 39.
Okay.
And she says, I can use place value blocks to check Paula's thinking. My explanation is clear and complete.
I wouldn't exactly call that clear.
There's several pages like this where they give you about what good math thinkers do, and then the little guy says that he can do stuff, and then it gives you thinking habits, and then it gives you the equation in the center. And then it goes into the problem-solving guide. And then we get into math and science project. So they can do a math and science project. And then they get into vocabulary, and we're reviewing what you know. And so you're going to circle the symbol for equals, circle the symbol for minus, It's got some little problems that they can do. And then you cut out word cards. There's different things in this workbook for the child. As a mom, I find it really confusing. And it takes me a minute to like go, okay, wait, what are they asking me to solve? You're doing worksheets with your kids. It's worksheets, different worksheets. So that's this book. By the end of this book, it goes into shape, so that's good. That's volume 1 for the second grader. And then we're going to go into volume 2, and it's more of the same. Jeff saw 6 brown frogs, 3 green frogs, and 4 spotted frogs. How many frogs did Jeff see in all? Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Show your work and explain your answer. Anyway, it goes on. I want to show you again. This is second grade. This is first and second grade. This is very, very straightforward. This, very overstimulating and overwhelming.
So much for teaching one thing at a time thoroughly.
If your kids come home confused and can't figure out their arithmetic, now you know why.
I have started doing videos of teaching Ray's New Primary Arithmetic to my kids, so you can check those out.
Considering that Ray's New Primary Arithmetic is in public domain, you can look at it online for free. I've put links in the description so you can check that out. Or if you want to pick up a physical copy, there's some links there for you too.